recently you partnered with the Wholesale Network to provide some opportunities to purchase products there, and obviously that connection came through Jonah. So just talk about your guys' decision and why you see that partnership as valuable to your distribution company.
Yeah, the key there is that it's still a trusted network. So from Jonah being involved, meeting you guys, meeting Corey and everything, like there's still endless amount of Amazon sellers that want our products. We're not interested in just selling to anyone. So I think like the Wholesale Network is just, it's the same effect as working with Jonah, is like, it's a sigh of relief being confident that these are like legit people that are trying to do it the right way. And so it's just an extension of Jonah and the trust and the relationship that there's room for other sellers, but we're not interested in sellers. We're interested in trusted partners that are trying to do it.
E-commerce is the greatest business opportunity of our generation.
What is up, people? Welcome back to the last episode of the calendar year of 2024 for the Ecom Unlimited podcast. I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who's been listening to us. A lot of you guys send us DMs or messages and say that you've listened to every single episode, which kind of is a shock for me. I'd never really envisioned me and Josh as being podcasters, but here we are 52 episodes later. And so again, just big thank you to all of the listeners and everyone who's gotten value out of this. And looking into 2025, if you have any guests that you want us to interview, please send us a DM, send us an email, let us know who you want to have, you want us to have on the pod, so that way we can keep having these conversations and bring you guys as much value as possible. But today we've got some guests that are definitely going to bring you guys a lot of value. We have on Jonah Hodges and Etai. How you guys doing?
Good. Nice to have you.
What's up, guys?
Nice to be on this.
Glad to be back on.
So, Jonah, you guys are, yes, we got another repeat guest. We've had a couple, but it was definitely time to get Jonah back on here, and we're excited to talk with Etai with you as well. So could you guys just give a quick intro real quick? So Jonah, obviously a lot of our listeners will be familiar with you. You've been on the pod before, but Etai, you're new. So if you could just give a quick intro and then we can get into it.
Yeah. So my name is Etai. I own Coast to Coast Distribution, primarily focused in sporting goods and cycling. We started in 2018 and with just a credit card and a dream, I guess, just trying to hustle. And we're up to more than 45 brands now, selling into thousands of retailers in the cycling space, and also heavily diving into partnering with the right people like Jonah and you guys in the Wholesale Network to partner with the right brands to help brands grow on Amazon as well.
That's awesome.
All right, sick. Yeah, and Jonah, if you could give a quick
and then
intro
I'll give a quick brief intro. So I've been selling on Amazon for a long time now and full-time seller since 2020. And so kind of full circle here. Like I met Etai back in high school, so we're hometown friends. I've done a number of side ventures over the years, and one of those ended up being Amazon. So I've ended up partnering with his company and a number of other brands and kind of helping sell their products online. And from that, 5 years later, full circle, because I've, met Kaj, I met you probably a year ago today, and we were both in the same space of growing our wholesale business and also helping others and posting content and everything online. So it's cool to now, hop on a pod with you guys. And I met Josh through you. And so it's full circle.
Yes, very full circle indeed. And I remember when I first started following you on Twitter as well, and I loved your tweets and got so much value out of that. And I was like, that's the kind of business that I want for sure. So it's a full circle moment for us too. So let's just continue a little bit on the topic of both of your guys' stories, which are different in different business models, but also kind of align, as we were just saying. So maybe Etai, if you can go first, just tell us about what it was like scaling a distribution company.
Yeah, a bunch of failing and just learning. I mean, I dropped out of college, so I didn't really have any business knowledge. We started selling, I guess the experience we had was we worked for the other partner of Coast to Coast. His cousin started a brand. So we kind of built that brand from the ground up working for them, just absolutely cold calling stores, no sales experience, tried a script when I first started, realized that like 2 sentences in, things can go off script if they ask a question you didn't, prepare for. So hundreds of cold calls, people have no idea who you are, what brand it is, and really just slowly building relationships. I think part of growing, I realized it's just very like you're almost a detective. So, you get so many different responses and then you're trying to crack the code of each person. They all have their own objections. They all have their own reasons, why you shouldn't contact them anymore and everything. But like you have one choice. You have to just grow. If no one works with you, you have no customers. You just have product that you bought that you need to sell. So it started with just like a bunch of research, bootstrapping, driving to stores, knocking on their doors, and then like emailing, calling. Really, that was it. Like email everyone. Not many people would reply, and then you have to pick up the phone and introduce yourself. 5, 6, 7 follow-ups. Maybe they'll give you a chance to send them a sample of something. But at least from starting, yeah, it was pretty stressful. You don't have a lot of capital, so you buy it on a credit card, and that bill comes due. But just, in a sense, just a lot of outreach and a lot of hustle and like persistence, because it's not going to be easy. No one's heard of you and everything. And then it slowly starts to build. Now you have customers, you bring in a new product. Now they at least are listening. You have that relationship, and relationships are everything. So it was definitely a lot of bootstrapping and cold calling and emailing and following up a bunch until they were sick of you.
Why did you choose distribution?
It kind of fell in our lap, to be honest. So because we worked for that other brand, my partner's cousin, that was our only business experience. And we had built tons of relationships because we were kind of their distributor. That was just the opportunity out of college. Like he had us buy product and be his distributor, in the US. And then, once we kind of parted ways with them because things didn't work out, is like, okay, we had the relationships, we had a customer base. We didn't really have any more products because we parted ways. So we had to find new brands, but we didn't really say, hey, let's start a distribution company. It kind of fell in our lap with like, his cousin had a product to sell. And then we just kind of dove into the business world that way.
Very interesting. Okay. So was there ever a point as you were scaling that, or maybe in the transition from that first brand that you had to then doing outreach, were you ever considered doing a different business model, or you knew that your skill set was the right match to have a distribution company?
I think it was more about surviving and pushing forward rather than like analyzing if this is the right model, because it's kind of all we knew. So we, didn't try out other businesses or like research what a good business model is. It's just all of a sudden we had been working for that brand for 2.5 years, and we had developed the skill sets that we developed. And so it made more sense to just, leverage those relationships we have and just find other products and get better and better at what we do. Because we got really good at what we were doing, and kind of like the growing pains of starting and not knowing what you're doing, not being good at it, those weren't there anymore. So we definitely just, leveraged what we had built in 2.5 years and continued down that path.
Love it.
Now, like, talk to us about what are like the top 2 objections that you would get in cold calling as you first started?
Top 2. Most, at least in the bike space, like most retail stores are really busy. So you're just kind of annoying to them. Like they have thousands of products they can buy. They have tons of distributors. And at first we weren't really like a distributor. Like to be a distributor, you need like a bunch of brands. Otherwise you're just like a vendor that has 1 or 2. And I don't know if it's laziness or like efficiency, but they have so many other options to buy from. The first one is just like, why would I work with you? Like, we couldn't get a bunch of unique brands right away. So we would have brands that maybe other distributors that are bigger, have been around a longer time. They'd prefer to work with them. So there's a lot of hurdles of just like, well, why would I work with you? And we'd have to get really creative as far as like, okay, like you'll get free shipping on all your orders. And I know for other distributors, maybe it's $500 order gets you free shipping, and just like the customer service. I know it sounds cliche, but like, okay, as a smaller guy, you have to figure out a way to make that your advantage, not your disadvantage. So like just taking care of all the little things. If they have a return or a warranty, instead of like, oh, fill out this form, like, dude, it's in the mail, it's on the way, don't worry about it. So just trying to find little scrappy ways to be actually convenient for them, that was definitely the way to retain them. And then to open them, sometimes you have to get crazy, like, offering a first order free or sending a sample for them to test out. That was the big one. Like, it costs money. It's your product, but I would call 100 stores and they'd be like, yeah, okay, maybe. And then to get them over the line, I would just send a sample to 50, 100 stores. And now I have a reason to follow up with them. And how'd you like that product? Did you, and then they're like, oh, it's pretty good. Okay. Like, now I'm interested in buying. So, tons of reasons why not to work with us. So
Sure.
maybe those are the top two.
Yeah, I love that. All that creativity. That's just awesome. Just delivering what people need at the end of the day. That's awesome. And it's just a good way to do business, right? And again, that free sample, it's a perfect way to follow up. That's awesome. Always give yourself a reason to go and try to call them. That's always a great way. Now, Jonah, talk to us a little bit about how you scaled Amazon.
Yeah, so for me, with my story, I basically have been selling on Amazon since 2010. So I was in high school, always trying to figure out a way to make money online by just my little passions and side hustles and projects like that. So at first it was eBay. I'd buy and sell stuff on eBay. And then after that, I realized Amazon has so much more traffic, right? So, back in the day, all I would do was just sell used textbooks and used iPhones on Amazon. That was sort of my deal as I played sports. And I never wanted to have a full-time job or a job where even if it was, for a short period of time, I just didn't like having to go to a location. And so that was one of the first things that I learned is with Amazon, you can literally just trade stuff and get paid for it. And all this stuff for me was scavenging, used textbooks, stuff around the house, anything used with a barcode. That's how I started. And, back then I didn't even know it was arbitrage, but what I would do is go on Craigslist and then look up, get all these textbooks and sell them on Amazon. But it was just a side sort of deal, not the kind of earnings that could pay the bills, that's for sure. And, this is why it was also a perfect timing, perfect opportunity sort of deal. Because with Etai and the brand they were working with, I sort of came on as another sales rep where I was making sales to retail stores for them. Same sort of deal, just I was a freelance rep. And on the side, I also would sell a lot of their used products on Amazon. So they were getting returns from their vendors, I was like the trash man. So a lot of my Amazon career in the beginning was just used products. Majority of my sales was used stuff. I didn't do FBA for the first many years because it was always I'd find something, I'd list it, it would sell, I'd ship it. And then 2019, we're making more sales. I'm starting to go more and more full-time with e-commerce and just entrepreneurship in general. And then 2020 comes and boom, stores stop ordering at all. So this is every industry. Etai and their vendors stop ordering because obviously the retailers are shut down. And on my side, I'm still making sales on Amazon. So the sales slowly start growing as stores get shut down. And with a partner like Coast, I was just guys, we should try to source more product, source more brands and vendors. We can sell their stuff online, even if, the retail front, even if the retail stores are not purchasing anything, I think we could still scale that side of the business. And then over time, within 2020, it was a magical moment for anyone in e-commerce, right? So as long as you had a seller account and were listing something, it was going to sell. So we quickly saw, how big e-commerce was. The sheer volume was something, even me, I'd been selling on that platform since 2010, but I just always looked at it in a different lens than I do now. So, I was applying for jobs in 2019 and I had this gold mine of Amazon behind me. I just never even saw what it really could be or what it was. So getting with Etai and Coast and then, growing the Amazon side of things happened relatively quickly. but it was just another shift. So like for me, the first shift was like, okay, arbitrage is great for, some quick cash, quick wins. But if you want to build something long and sustainable, you got to get into wholesale. So then we get into wholesale, and naturally, some brands it's going super well with. Other brands, they don't want you to sell on Amazon. So we ran into that issue with some of our brands that sold really well. And so the transition there was like, okay, how do we become an authorized partner for these brands to where they know we're selling on Amazon? We're actually like helping them generate more sales. And we look at it as like another brand in our portfolio. So that's where I launched my company. And from there, we've been almost 5 years now in business. And it's something that any partner I work with, they end up seeing the value and vision of that as well. And that goes with Etai and Coast. So they saw quickly brands really liked the services we were providing them. Brands also ran into the issue of a lot of Amazon sellers, selling on their listings that they didn't want to. So after a while, we kind of we fell into the business we have today. Did I cut out there?
A little bit, but we got most of it, and I think the recording got it. So I think we're definitely good. So
Yeah,
okay.
But we were getting the lag, but I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I think we'll be all right. So how big of a partnership do you think, like back in the day, did you think partnering with someone like Etai was for you, like back then? Like, did you ever think it was going to develop into something like this?
Not really. I mean, a lot of it is natural too, just like how Etai says they naturally fell into distribution. It's like you start on the journey and then you kind of see the opportunities and where you want to take it. I realized quickly like the route I wanted to go was just blue sea, blue ocean. And really the sky was the limit. So as long as we could stay in the game, I realized that like, this could be something huge, which over time it gets bigger every year, which is all you can really ask for.
That's funny. I feel like that's where me and Kaj are. It's like, oh man, if we could just stay in it another like year or two, like this could be really sweet. Like this could be insane.
Finally
now
it.
Etai. Yeah. Now, Etai, what were you thinking? Jonah was like crazy back then, which I'm sure you had like a massive like retail before COVID, and you're hearing like this guy Jonah just like, let's do Amazon and like let's sell more on Amazon. Like, what were your thoughts about that?
No, I mean, he definitely carved out his own niche, and we're friends from high school, so it wasn't like anything he said. Obviously, I trust his opinion, but one thing he definitely hammered was like, look, I know coast to coast and your retail and your distribution is your baby, but like, I promise you this could be even bigger than that. Or, like this is the future and this could be, as big or bigger than what you're doing right now. Like, and it took persistence and a lot of time of like having us take it more seriously. Sure. So I didn't really think him crazy, but he also, it wasn't overnight where we're like, all right, let's run with it. Like he kind of had to keep pushing, keep reminding us. And, so no, I didn't think he was crazy, but I also didn't think it would be as big as it is, or, he would find the success, that he did and in the partnership that we have as the company. And there's, just to touch on what he was saying on how he built it, probably a lot of sellers on Amazon don't understand how much feedback and mess and complexities that, you as a distributor, especially if you're like the exclusive distributor, you're a representation of that brand, and all of the mess and the noise and, a seller comes and discounts the product, breaks MAP, for example. Like the distributor hears that feedback and you kind of have to manage it, clean it up. Now a bunch of stores aren't interested in that product because you're trying to sell it to them and they're like, oh, I look online and it's discounted 25%. Like I can't stock that in the store. So being a brand builder and like a representation of the brand, that's why having the Amazon channel cleaned up or like, represented with the right sellers and people that, do it the right way is so important. And I think it all ties together. That's why a lot of sellers will get rejected by vendors because their experience of Amazon has been a mess or negative because of the, abusers. And so it's all tied together to have the right partners is important for a brand. It's important for the distributor. It's important for the sellers so they can be profitable and do it the right way.
Well said. Well said. Now let's stay on that topic of partnerships. And this is something that I think is very, very important heading into 2025 as the landscape on Amazon has continued to shift. And we've been talking about this all year, so nothing new for the listeners. But obviously the model of just going to Google, searching up any distributor, buying a big P&G brand like Crest or Oral-B or Dove from a liquidation and then selling that profitably on Amazon, like those days are pretty much done. It still can be done, but you're running a much higher risk because you're probably not going to have as clean of a supply chain. Now it's shifting to Amazon really focusing on the brands, right? They want brands selling themselves or brands that are selling through authorized third-party sellers. And that's what we are all focusing on. And so Etai, you touched on that a little bit just now about how, the brands that you guys are carrying, like you see yourself as a partner with that brand. And Jonah, you're partnered with Etai. Another thing I think is cool is just you guys are friends from high school, right? Like me and Josh have been friends from middle school. And personally, I just think business is way more fun when you're doing it with friends, that you enjoy spending time with already. So just talk to me about the importance of partnership, how to go about finding the right partners and structuring the partnership so that it's beneficial for everyone that's involved.
Yeah, I mean, do you mean like with vendors and partners, or like from what perspective?
So from both perspectives, right? So like Jonah, you're selling on Amazon, right? But some of those products you're buying from Coast, and Coast you're buying from the brand. But there's synergy the whole way, right? Like, because a lot of times Amazon sellers will get it from a distributor, but we're trying to hide from the brand and we don't want the brand to know that we're selling, which That's not a partnership, right? That's just arbitrage versus the way that you guys are doing it.
Yeah, I mean, like Amazon is a whole separate beast, right? We're in the retail, we're focused on selling to stores and representing and building the brand the right way. And I think Amazon is just that consumer facing retail side of it. But the importance is a lot of distributors will just sell to anyone and maybe they don't care about the brand image or the mess it creates or, everything that comes with it. But with us, it gives us so much peace of mind to know that, okay, if we sell to Jonah, it's all handled professionally. And so we're not going to deal with the headaches. We can confidently communicate to our retailers that this brand, map is protected. It's has integrity. You're not going to worry about price dips. We can also communicate to the brand that they're represented the right way on Amazon. Like they can't miss out on sales or miss out on just that being represented the right way on Amazon. So peace of mind. And it goes back to relationships. Like if you continue to deliver for a distributor, if you're Jonah, we're going to keep feeding brands. It's not just with that one brand. It's like, it's a partnership every way. So like really it's bringing value. I see when you're hiding and everyone does it like because of the misconception or the perception of Amazon as a whole, but you just have to bring value. So if you're bringing value to your supplier and we bring value to our supplier, it's a win-win for everyone. So you just have to deliver the results, do it the right way, skip out on what might seem like easy money or easy wins, kind of take the long, steady approach and doing things the right way. And yeah, on the new landscape of partnering with brands, buying Legos and selling it, like that doesn't, it's cool. You made money, but it's not bringing Lego any value. It's not driving their revenue or you're not doing marketing for them or anything like that. So, long story short, it is all about partnerships and relationship building. And like, you'd be surprised, if you do the legit partnership building with a distributor or whoever you're buying from, it's going to open up so many more doors in the future if you're being a good partner. Even if you're helping them, hey, there's a few unauthorized sellers. I don't know if you saw this, but they're affecting your brand integrity and everything like that.
Well said. Yeah. Jonah, what's your input on that?
Yeah, just from my side, like the partnership and our whole method, how we've been working, I think for a lot of sellers, it's just time and longevity for how long you've been selling. So especially if you start as somebody who, did arbitrage, you quickly realize, if you want to scale further, you should do wholesale. because this is my journey as well. You know, like I started doing arbitrage. I've done private label as well, which obviously is like the highest pinnacle because you own the brand, but there's a lot that goes into that as well. You know, there's a lot of downsides and more legwork and resources required. I just found a perfect little spot with partnering with brands because I felt like I wanted to get higher up the food chain, you know? So I did wholesale arbitrage where I'd buy and resell stuff, and it, you know, goes really well. It's profitable. And then boom, you lose one account and it's 80% of your business. Like, you know, it's not a good spot to be in. So after a lot of pain and like, you know, getting cut off and selling stuff unauthorized or buying from a supplier that wasn't legit and me getting my account shut down, like I ran into all these issues that then pushed me to want to just be transparent and upfront and work with brands. And naturally, a lot of larger brands aren't open to that conversation just because it's harder to have. They're more experienced. They know Amazon better, but there's still tons of brands out there that do need a help online and need your services with Amazon. And so we kind of found a sweet spot with some of the brands we were working with to where you bring up the Amazon conversation and it's not that scary, right? Where I think a lot of people think it's very daunting. Reality is there's just so many brands that don't know anything about Amazon. Like they have no insights at all. It's not their business. It's a company. There's 5 people involved. So it's a bandwidth issue. So we've kind of fit into doing a lot of the heavy lifting and making it easier for our brands, our distributors, our retailers. Like we work with a number of different types of companies, but it's just like adding value to them and making their lives easier.
And so what are your main tips for the Amazon seller that is trying to be more than just a reseller, that wants to provide value either directly to the brand or to the distributor? Like, what is the value that someone like us who's an Amazon seller can provide to brands and distributors?
Yeah, so if you're an existing seller already, look at the catalog of what you're selling and see if there's any brands in there that you could potentially add value to. So these are normally brands that aren't selling hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. Somebody on the smaller side where you see, you know, you identify their listing images and that they need a lot of help. Or you identify they're dealing with 20 resellers and the price is all over the board. Like find some sort of pain point that brand has before you ever reach out to them. So it's good to have, you know, something in your back pocket when reaching out to brands. And so I'm not sure if I got cut out there.
You're back now. There was lag, but you're back.
Okay. Yeah. So basically just understanding, you know, the pain points of the brands before you reach out to them and providing a service rather than just buying and reselling. So to be able to provide a service, you need to understand how to fulfill that service. So understanding how to do things like creating new listings and understanding how to help limit the supply and where product is flowing. And if you can do all these things, you actually can grow a brand's sales on Amazon.
Yeah, just to touch up on that, maybe he cut out, like you, instead of buying and flipping products, to be a partner, you have to start, like you said, identifying the weaknesses. And if you're an Amazon seller, you should be the expert there. So you should be able to analyze the landscape. The images are blurry, the pricing's tanked, you know, you don't have bundles and stuff. Like there's endless ways to help them, and you become more of a service than like a purchaser. It's both, but you have to, you're like a branch to them now all of a sudden and an expert in that category. And there's endless services that you can provide, marketing, you know, advertisements against their competitors, endless. But you have to analyze that, be a detective. Every brand has different weaknesses, and then you have to fulfill those. So kind of like any business, kind of like when I was calling stores, you know, okay, what's their pain point or how can I fit in, and then go and deliver those results.
Love it. So I'm curious, when you guys are reaching out to new brands, do you reach out together and say, hey, like we can handle or help you with retail and distribution and with Amazon at the same time? Or do you normally start with the distribution side, then add the Amazon, or vice versa?
It kind of depends what niche the product is. Sorry, yeah, it just kind of depends on niche of product as well. So if it's something that fits our existing retail market, it only makes sense to offer that as, getting it in shelves as well. But now we work with brands just on Amazon that don't really fit our retail market as well. So it's honestly up front and first, there are plenty of leads that come through the distribution side, which are normally cycling, sporting goods. And then just naturally from your brand being out there so long and providing good service, there's our companies like, we have a swimming brand, we have another, food grocery brand. So a lot of them, it kind of depends what the category is.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah. And from my side, this speaks to the value of having a good partner and like another branch or reliable relationship. It makes my company more valuable. So when we're reaching out to brands in cycling, it's just another talking point. Hey, we want to distribute your brand, of course, to our stores. Also what's going on with Amazon? Like, what's your presence? I'll obviously do my own research and kind of know, but it's just like I can speak to another value add as a distributor that I can bring that brand, confidently knowing that I have that branch and that partner in Jonah. So yes, it's just like another talking point in that discussion of distributing a brand. Hey, I know confidently that I can fulfill this need in this space for you guys and optimize it and crush it because I know I have that partner in Jonah.
Love it.
Yeah, very nice. Now, kind of like switching kind of focus a little bit, Etai, do you get any calls from us Amazon sellers that are just ridiculous? Or what emails are you getting? How can you help us out, reach distributors a little bit better?
I write a lot about this on socials, but I surprisingly don't get any calls, like rarely. And if, our company hotline, it goes to voicemail, we don't get any voicemails. It's all emails and it's all really poor. So like the bar is pretty low, I would say. It's a copy paste email. A lot of foreign ones too. It's like even the English is broken, but even from like American, it's a copy paste. They didn't do their research. Often it will say, we're interested in your products. Okay. You probably just saying that to everyone. You don't know our brands, and then they also offer all the information. They think they're being efficient, but in my opinion, it works against you. Like, they know that in past conversations to set up an account, you may need your EIN, your business, license, a photo of your brick and mortar, whatever the frequently asked kind of questions are. So they dump that to you immediately. Here's my business license, my reseller's permit, and to me, it's just like a lot of vomit, kind of like, here's everything, I'll give you an account, and there's no research done. So I get a lot of emails and a lot of inquiries. Keeping it short and to the point, I think, is better than me like deleting the email, even if it's, hey, I'm interested in Pirelli. I did some research. I think I could do really well with it. How can I open up an account? Like, don't give it all away. The goal is to start the conversation and start some dialogue. Then you can let me ask for your EIN and your reseller certificate, but don't just it's very copy paste and it's all the same.
Gotcha. That's some great advice.
Yeah, and just a step further on that. I was just going to say a step further on that. There's our conversations we have with brands normally last, multiple phone calls before we end up, getting a direct account with them and landing it like that. And the same goes for emails. So it's a lot of back and forth between us and brands before we get like, okay, here's the price sheet, go ahead, place an order. And guys kind of just like jumping the gun on that. This goes for phone calls too. Like, you're not always just going to get, yep, you're authorized, good to go. It might even just be like calling and trying to find the person in charge, trying to find that decision maker first and then scheduling a call with them. And then that's where you introduce the Amazon topic and then they got to go back to their boss and talk about it. So a lot of times it will take 2-3 calls before you have a clear decision.
Jonah, do you find, selling on Amazon and going through all these partner calls, is there anything that you feel like business owners are like confused about, or they don't quite understand, that might give you like a foot in to some of their problems that they might be facing?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just ignorance with Amazon and brands in general. Like, you don't know what you don't know, especially with how Amazon started. So, for a lot of brands, it's seen as the discount platform. It's just naturally the platform with that's known as the cheapest pricing. Brand didn't own that customer at all, which they don't like. So, a lot of brands were anti Amazon at first. But over time, you're seeing it's like this is not just a shopping platform. This is a search engine, and it's one of the biggest ones right now. So people don't just go to Google and search for what they want anymore. They'll go to Amazon. And yes, sometimes people will search your brand name and lead to your product, but sometimes they might just be searching tire, right? So you want to make sure your option is one of the best options to find there. And so whenever I'm talking to brands, I kind of put it as like digital real estate. Like, you guys need to be on Amazon. There's too many customers. There's too many opportunity. So whenever a brand doesn't want to be on Amazon or doesn't want me to help them, it's normally just lack of understanding. So it's like moving the ball forward to them seeing like where the value is that we're adding.
That's so good. I feel like for us Amazon sellers, it's like, because again, we're all on the younger side, I would say. So we understand like the value of like Amazon and like shopping on Amazon. And we do it so frequently that it's just, I feel like those are some things that I just kind of just assume. And it's like explaining it to somebody in a different, like digital real estate. Because technically it's like, pretty close to free if you think about it in terms of all that stuff. Like, even if you like jack the price up to like, $90, if people are searching for your keyword there and your price is a lot cheaper on the website, you're still gonna see there, and they might be like, oh, the price is way too high here, let's see what their website says. Like, it's still like, again, a search engine. Never thought about it like that before. Which is so key.
And on that outreach topic, it should, a good mindset shift is like, it should excite you that everyone is like, no, it's or that it's scary to like talk about Amazon because it's no. Like, if you're confident that you can bring value, it's almost like imposter syndrome. If you're just kind of flipping it or this, then you're going to feel like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. But if you're like, no, this is exciting, like, I know I can deliver results for your brand, then you're going to get a no, or we got it handled, or we don't do Amazon. Like, that's a given. But you should be excited to kind of have that opportunity to tell the brand why you're going to deliver them results. Like, you have the solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of those calls can be like so low energy because you're like, oh my gosh, I just want them to say yes. I don't have to deal with a ton of, objections. Like, I'm like scared that they're going to like be judging me because I'm an Amazon seller and I can't really bring any value. But again, man, if you can bring value, shoot your shot. I mean,
yeah.
They should be happy to work with you, and you should bring the energy where, as long as they can see your vision, you're doing something great. If your vision doesn't align with yours, that's okay. That's going to happen. But they at least have to know your vision, or else it's going to be really hard to get any sort of a yes from them.
Well said. Well said. And sticking on the topic of partnerships again, Etai, you obviously have gotten lots of bad emails from guys who are primarily selling on Amazon. And most of those, it seems like you just delete. You're not just handing out accounts anyway. But you also did want more partners who sell on Amazon to help move product. Obviously, you have a lot of stuff, I'm sure, that's going exclusively to Jonah, but you have a really big catalog. And so recently you partnered with the Wholesale Network to provide some opportunities to purchase products there. And obviously that connection came through Jonah. So just talk about your guys' decision and why you see that partnership as valuable to your distribution company.
Yeah, the key there is that it's still a trusted network. So from Jonah being involved, meeting you guys, meeting Corey and everything, like, there's still endless amount of Amazon sellers that want our products. Now, as our partnership with Jonah grows, his company grows, some opportunities might not be as much of a fit for him because he's focused on, really growing a Pirelli or certain things. And so if his plate is full, we don't want to turn down those sales. But at the same time, we're not interested in just selling to anyone. So I think like the wholesale network is it's the same effect as working with Jonah. Is like, it's a sigh of relief being confident that these are like legit people that are trying to do it the right way. And so it's just an extension of Jonah and the trust in the relationship that there's room for other sellers, but we're not interested in sellers. We're interested in trusted partners that are trying to do it the right way. So it was kind of a no-brainer for us.
Well said. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Then on my
think,
side, same sort of deal. Just, can you hear me?
Yep. You're good.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, like what you're just saying, soft plug to the wholesale network there. But the real reality of it is there's just too many products to buy. Like every Amazon seller, regardless of their business model, and at some point of your journey, you ran into a phase where there was too many products to buy. And that's why community and just having network of sellers like this becomes so valuable, because just because I can't buy something doesn't mean, Kaj wouldn't buy it or Josh wouldn't buy it, right? And the same deal goes on your side. There's going to be brands that, as you keep growing, are not worth your time. But for somebody who's just getting into the brand partner method and wants a brand to work with, it gives access to be able to do that. And then also just knowing you're buying product from authorized suppliers. Like, this goes for any wholesaler out there. You don't have to do brand direct, but if you're doing wholesale, you 100% should be buying from authorized suppliers, end of the day. So doesn't matter what niche, what category, anything like that, as long as the supplier is authentic, that's what matters most. And so also being able to give our members, access to a authorized supplier that we know and trust.
That's the vicious cycle. I'll make this like 10 seconds, but it's the fear of getting tired and fatigue of getting rejected by a lot of suppliers. Then you all of a sudden get accepted by a supplier. You're very eager to get the product and, move your business forward. And those are usually the ones that are unauthentic and get you, banned and ruin your account. So like staying the course and being patient and understanding it's going to be hard to open up suppliers, but delivering your message, doing it the right way. You're not going to get the unauthorized products that are fakes and get your account shut down.
Well said. Yep. And that's what we have been and are continuing to build inside of the wholesale network, right? Is that trusted network of sellers and also distributors where it's beneficial for everyone, right? Like I've done a group buy brand direct with other members of the mastermind. Members in the network are buying from Coast. And it's something where everyone's growing together and everyone's benefiting. And it's transparent, it's clean documentation, and it's a win-win for the brand, for the distributor, and for the seller as well. So hard plug there. If anyone's interested in joining the wholesale network, especially leading into 2025, and you want to grow on Amazon using the brand direct partnership, you can send me a message. You can send Jonah a message. You can go to wholesalenetwork.io and submit an application there, and then we'll start the conversation with you.
Yeah, love it. Jonah and Etai, where can people go find you on the internet if they have any additional questions?
Jonah, you
Yeah,
can
so
lead
you
it.
can just find me
Oh, sorry.
Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at Jonah Hodges _. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm very new to socials. Pretty active on LinkedIn. I've been doing it the longest. Etai Levy Richards, and then my handle here, Etai Levy _ is for Twitter and Instagram. Where Instagram, I'm just kind of posting my thoughts right now, but trying to tell the story of building a distribution company and kind of my journey in how I've built everything is my goal right now. Is just telling the story.
Beautiful. Guys, links will be in the description. If you got value from this episode, give it a like and subscribe to Ecom Unlimited so you can stay updated on all of our new content. And we will see you on the next one. And we'll also see you next year. Peace.
Peace.